Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So one of the things that has been kind of sitting that I've been kind of thinking about and really trying to get my thoughts together on has been the YouTube's new policy regarding monetization. So that's what this video is going to be about. It is a little bit outside the bounds of what I normally talk about on this channel, but since it directly affected it, I got the infamous email. I want to talk about it a little bit and kind of how it's going to impact the channel. Quick spoiler, it won't. But in terms of what it means and what I interpreted from the actual email itself, I want to talk about that a little bit and also kind of how it's going to adjust my approach. Now, one thing I'm going to include in here, and I'm going to include it in the description, is a video from Barnacles Nerdgasm, that channel, that actually made some interesting points regarding one viewpoint of how you can interpret this. Real quick, from my standpoint, I think YouTube's concept is okay. I kind of understand where they're coming from because realistically, if you're underneath, and so just for anyone who isn't aware, I'll quickly summarize, just quickly. A lot of creators got an email stating that their channel would be basically kicked out of the partner program. It would be demonetized if they weren't able to within 30 days. So the email came out for me on January 16th, which I think was the same for most people. So within 30 days approximately, or February 20th is the date that I have on my email. Basically, you had to meet two criteria. So before it was 10,000 lifetime views, which this channel more than meets, no problem. But two criteria were added to in the email. Number one, you needed to have a total of 1,000 subscribers. So at the time of this recording, I have 801. So that would leave me 199 short. And then the second criteria would be that you have to have within a 12-month period 4,000 total watch time hours. So that works out to about 240,000 minutes. So when I look at YouTube analytics, so for me, I'm just shy of 90,000 watch time minutes. So that would be about 1,500 hours, which would mean I'd have to, within the next, so right now as I record this, it is January 27th. So about 4 days left in the month approximately, and then you'd add another 20 days. So within about 24 days, I'd have to get 199 subscribers, which is theoretically possible, probably a bit of a stretch. But I'd also have to double and a half the current watch time I have. So basically, whoever's been watching the channel for the last year, I would have to get the same amount of views for the same amount of time by another 1.5 times. So that's a bit of a stretch. Basically my longest videos on this channel, people would have to be sitting there watching them from one to the other and possibly multiple times just to make up the difference. That's not very likely. So the channel's probably going to get demonetized. But kind of to YouTube's point, realistically, when you're getting those many views or, those few views over the period of time, you're not getting the watch time, you're not really earning that much money. So realistically, it's not going to make that much of a difference. I work a full-time job. This is just kind of a hobby thing that I'll do here and there. Obviously, from the frequency of posts and videos, you can kind of get the sense for that. But the truth is that to make $100, now for some people, that's huge encouragement. But for me to make $100, if I go to work on Monday morning, I basically have that just after lunch. And I don't really make a lot of money at work. But I work a full-time job in an office, and it's not really that much money to make $100. But it is a nice incentive for something that, for a lot of people, is a hobby. It's nice to have that. So I understand that taking that away, and the way they did it, where I say YouTube really dropped the ball on it, is the communication. They had a valid argument in the sense that those channels really weren't making a lot of money and kind of pulling potential ads and potential ad revenue from channels that are really making a go of YouTube and really building up that community and having that large group of people. I get it. From a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense. But where I think they lost a lot of it is that for a lot of those small creators, they're small creators today, that little amount of money they receive is the motivation that fuels them to keep going. And in a lot of cases, in some niches, in some genres, you're not going to grow that quickly. A channel like this, there's no specific theme or genre I have. I like to do a lot of videos where I do Blu-ray pickups and things like that. I've done in the past random reviews of electronics because I have a passion for electronic things. But I'm not a electronics review channel. It's not something I focus my attention on. It really is a hobbyist kind of channel where I kind of talk about stuff that I feel like. To be honest though, it is kind of nice for me in a way because I'm still going to do those videos. Anyway, regardless, and to be 100% honest with you, it kind of takes the shackles off, because rather than trying to overthink it and think like, is this a video anyone would even watch? And the truth is, I'm not getting a ton of views on a lot of those videos anyway. But instead of even considering that, is, well, if it's not monetized and I really don't have to worry about it, it doesn't matter if no one ever sees it and it never sees the light of day, they may as well make a video on whatever the hell I want. So that's kind of nice. So in that sense of it, it's been kind of a blessing in disguise. So I have had some time to think about it. And for me, it just means I'm going to get to, in reality, I may end up making more videos now simply because I don't really need to care. I don't need to make it advertiser friendly. I don't even need to make it interesting for anybody but me. And if someone happens to enjoy it or happens to be interested in it, get a little engagement, get some comments going back and forth, that's awesome. But in reality, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever to me. So that's kind of the takeaway that I have from it. Like I said, I'll leave Barnacles Nerdgasm's video, the link in the description. One more point that I'll probably make is that I would be very curious from my standpoint where YouTube came up with that arbitrary number. The 1,000 subscribers I get, because in a way, their argument, I think, if you read the larger blog post, is that they're trying to get past those channels that basically steal other people's content and then basically monetize. And even if they got rid of it right away, they would still make some money. I get that part. I don't think they've done a very good job communicating what happens to people who already have some AdSense. That's an issue. And the other element of it, and that, by the way, that goes into YouTube's overall communication problems. I don't know who they have doing HR, but I'd fire them. They're not really great at passing along information very well. But the other piece of it, to be honest with you, is that even if you were able to communicate it effectively, where did you come up with the 4,000 hours? I assume there's data analytics with it, but it's one of those things where, like, you haven't published it. You're not really sharing with anybody how you came up with that number. 4,000 watch time hours works out to, and I took some notes here, so bear with me. It works out to about 657 minutes per day, for 365 days. And the other part that I would say that really wasn't articulated well is that's over 12 months. So it's a rolling 12 months. So even if you meet that threshold, let's say you have some videos that do phenomenally well. You know, they basically go viral. So they get tons of minutes. People are watching it from beginning to end. You make decent length videos. You do all that. Let's say you take a couple months off. You have, issues. You have a health problem. Something goes on. And then for a little while, you don't really make those videos. Well, what happens when that big viral video that met your time criteria goes off the docket? It's past the 12 months. So does that mean you lose the watch time? And if you lose the watch time, which I assume you do, given the 12-month rolling thing, if you lose the watch time, all of a sudden you go from having well over 4,000 hours to possibly under 4,000 hours. So all of a sudden you lose your monetization again. And then do you then reapply as soon as you make another bunch of video? You get back into it and you start making videos again. You get back over the 4,000 threshold. You have to reapply again. And then if for some reason you drop out 6 months down the road again, you have to reapply again. It doesn't seem like a very practical way to go about it. That's just kind of the take that I have on it. It isn't the way I do it. And even if it was the way I was going to do it, I don't think it's been communicated very well. I get it from a business standpoint, but it's one of those things where YouTube really has to kind of remember that a lot of those smaller creators are the ones that eventually became those bigger ones. Some of them hit right away. You find the right video, you find the right message, people catch on to it, they pass it along, and you become huge. But a lot of people are kind of in these smaller genres that take a much longer time to kind of crawl up. Or maybe it's a channel where you really don't have a specific niche, so it's not like you can build a community right off of one thing. Even a channel like this, where I'm talking about it, is I have varied interests. In theory, I would want to make videos on a bunch of different things. Making a bunch of different channels just to do that is a little bit too much work when it's not something I want to devote myself to full time. So what do? You create a channel where you focus on a specific niche, build, your community and your audience to that. Even though it's a hobby, you still want to do well in whatever it is you're doing. You want to have some fun. Make sure you really want to feel like someone's watching it. Or do you make a bunch of different channels where each channel this is the channel for, the movies, the Blu-rays, that kind of thing, that collection. This is a channel for like tech reviews. This is a channel for, your collection on this, your collection on that. I like watches as well. Would I make a separate channel for that? A separate channel for the movies and stuff? And a separate channel for the tech reviews? That's 3 channels. That already is more work than I do in my full-time job, theoretically, even if I was only making a couple of videos a week for each channel. That's mostly me thinking out loud. It's just one of those things where it's a consideration that a lot of channels are going to have to go through and think about. For me, just from this channel standpoint, just in case you're curious or even care, I'm not going to change really what I do. What I am probably going to do is I'm probably going to focus my attention on just making the videos that I want. If anything, I might make more videos. I already have one idea for a video I want to make that has absolutely nothing to do with anything else I've made on this channel. And I guess since I'm going to get demonetized probably in about 20 days anyway, I can make any video I want. Doesn't matter whether anybody sees it or everybody sees it. So that's really kind of my thoughts on it. Thank you very much if you made it to the end of kind of this rambling video. I appreciate it. Just for fun, since we're here, if you do enjoy it, feel free to thumbs up the video. Like I said, thumbs up, subscribe. Leave me a comment if you have any thoughts on it. Maybe you're in a similar boat and you're still trying to figure out what you do. Best of luck to you. I know that a lot of smaller creators are kind of trying to subscribe to each other to meet that threshold, so best of luck to you. I would say the watch time part of it is probably the harder part. Getting to 1,000 subscribers, while certainly not difficult, I've kind of gotten to 800 almost by kind of a fluke over time. But I wish you the best of luck, even if you get to 1,000. If you have the watch time in it, then awesome. Best of luck to you. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.